Studio Microphone World News Feature, Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, 2017 to 2021. In the ever-shifting landscape of global politics, few figures have commanded the world's attention quite like Donald J. Trump. Business magnate, reality television star, and political disruptor, Trump's rise to the presidency marked one of the most unexpected chapters in modern U.S. history. From the moment he descended that golden escalator in Trump Tower in 2015 to his final days in office in January 2021, Trump left an indelible mark not only on America but on the world stage. Today, we take a closer look at Donald Trump's presidency, his global impact, and the controversies and policies that defined his time in the White House. Globe showing America's the global shockwave of the 2016 election. Donald Trump's 2016 election victory was more than just a political upset, it was a global moment. Running as a political outsider against seasoned Democrat Hillary Clinton, Trump's campaign capitalized on populist sentiments, a deep frustration with the political establishment, and the promise to make America great again. The world watched with a mix of disbelief and fascination. Foreign leaders scrambled to understand what a Trump presidency would mean. Allies questioned existing alliances, while adversaries saw an opportunity to reshape global dynamics. His win was seen by many as part of a larger populist wave sweeping across the globe, from Brexit in the UK to nationalist movements in Europe and South America. Trump became the symbol of anti-globalist sentiment, challenging international norms, multilateral agreements, and traditional diplomacy. United States America First, a new foreign policy doctrine. From the beginning, Trump's foreign policy was starkly different from his predecessors. Centered around the America First doctrine, Trump emphasized economic nationalism, border security, and renegotiating what he called bad deals that disadvantaged the U.S. One of his first major moves was to withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, a massive trade deal aimed at curbing China's influence in the Asia-Pacific. Soon after, he pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement, claiming it placed an unfair burden on American businesses. Trump also began renegotiating NAFTA, which eventually led to the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, a key policy achievement he touted throughout his presidency. On the world stage, Trump challenged long-standing alliances, often criticizing NATO members for not paying their fair share. His approach to diplomacy was unconventional, to say the least, relying more on personal relationships than traditional diplomatic channels. Handshake historic summits, North Korea, Russia, and beyond. One of the most dramatic foreign policy chapters during Trump's term was his unprecedented engagement with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. In 2018, Trump became the first sitting U.S. president to meet with a North Korean leader when the two held a summit in Singapore. The images of the two leaders shaking hands were beamed across the globe. While the meetings were historic, they ultimately produced little concrete progress toward denuclearization. However, they represented a significant shift in how the U.S. approached adversarial regimes. Trump also courted controversy with his warm approach to Russian President Vladimir Putin. At the Helsinki summit in 2018, Trump appeared to side with Putin over U.S. intelligence agencies regarding Russian interference in the 2016 election, a move that drew sharp criticism at home and abroad. Classical building Trump and the global economy. Economically, Trump sought to realign global trade in America's favor. His administration launched a full-blown trade war with China, slapping tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. The move aimed to address what he saw as unfair trade practices, intellectual property theft, and the U.S. China trade imbalance. The result was a tense period of tit-for-tat tariffs, market volatility, and restructured supply chains. While some U.S. manufacturers welcomed the tougher stance on China, the impact was felt globally, disrupting trade flows and slowing economic growth in some sectors. Trump's economic nationalism also led to tensions with Europe, Canada, and even traditional allies like Japan and South Korea. Microbe the COVID-19 pandemic, global crisis, polarizing response. No event during Trump's presidency had a greater global impact than the COVID-19 pandemic. Initially downplaying the virus, Trump faced criticism for his handling of the crisis. He frequently clashed with scientists and health experts, often promoting unproven treatments and resisting mask mandates. Internationally, Trump's decision to withdraw U.S. funding from the World Health Organization, WHO, during the pandemic shocked allies and drew condemnation. He accused the WHO of being too favorable to China and failing to hold Beijing accountable for its early response. While Operation Warp Speed, his administration's vaccine development program, was a scientific and logistical success, the chaotic messaging and politicization of the pandemic response deeply affected the U.S.'s global standing. A divided America, a watchful world. Throughout his term, Trump's presidency often mirrored broader global trends: polarization, rising nationalism, distrust in institutions, and the growing influence of social media on political discourse. His administration saw massive protests, particularly in 2020 following the killing of George Floyd, which triggered a global movement against racial injustice. Cities across the world echoed the chant, "Black Lives Matter." America's domestic struggles under Trump were closely watched and reflected worldwide. The 2020 election was another historic moment. After a bitter campaign against Democrat Joe Biden, Trump refused to concede, claiming, without evidence, that the election was stolen. His rhetoric culminated in the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, when thousands of his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol in a failed attempt to overturn the election results. The world was stunned. For many nations that once looked to the U.S. as a model of democratic stability, the images from Washington, D.C., were a wake-up call. Classical building Trump's legacy on the world stage. Donald Trump's time as president may have ended in January 2021, but his influence continues to be felt. He changed the way politics is conducted in the digital age, leveraging social media, especially Twitter, as a direct channel to millions. He challenged long-standing diplomatic norms and reshaped the U.S.'s role in the international order. Whether admired or criticized, Trump's presidency forced countries to rethink their relationship with the U.S. It raised questions about the resilience of Western democracies, the future of globalization, and the durability of international alliances. Television final thoughts. As Donald Trump continues to play a prominent role in American politics, potentially eyeing a return to the White House, his legacy as the 45th president remains deeply polarizing. Was he a bold reformer who stood up to global elites and put America first? Or a divisive figure who weakened democratic institutions and isolated the U.S. on the world stage? The debate continues. But one thing is certain: Donald Trump changed the world, how nations see America, how citizens engage with politics, and how power is wielded in the 21st century. Stay tuned for more deep dives into global political figures and world events, only here on your trusted source for world news.